if you go back into the actual, if you go into the architecture of the actual balcony, it's supposed to only hold up to 2,000 people for only a matter of 5 hours maximum time for, if it was 5 days a week. An assembly, you have people there constantly. If you go to the assembly hall, you will notice that while you're walking, you're kind of sliding a little bit. You're gonna kind of move yourself to try to make it so that your feet don't, hobble over. So these are cuts that we have done, but in the end, put our foot in our mouth, because I believe to raise it back to where it's normal, I believe it's going to be, they say it's between 1.5 or 1.9 million to put the balcony back to where it originally is. And that means taking the balcony off and re-putting it back on. And that's that's also if the foundation takes it. So a lot of these cuts are hitting us back.
So, John, this is Rick Farron once again. Would you say, being there at Bethel and observing things that are going on around you, is it possible to at least suggest that the Watchtower is in a cash flow problem?
I can say that they are appearing to have a cash flow problem. They want to appear that they do have a cash flow problem, but that they are increasing their cash flow by putting in extra things, such as we've seen recently with certain everybody's, like the life insurance policies and things like that they say give directly to them and give directly to your stocks and your bonds and the stocks and things like that. To be honest, we should be fine, but something is, and they won't tell us what. Something is leaching off of leaching off of the financial institution that they had before, because everything was fine. If you guys don't remember, in the past, growing up, the past 10, 20 years, everything was fine. Just recently, in the past 5 years, all of a sudden, something's leaching away, funds constantly. It's like they need more, and they need more. Before, we were fine with everything. We didn't need to sell any buildings or nothing, right? But now, all of a sudden, buildings are being sold. Now they're gonna, even though I've seen the actual project that's going to be done, they're going to be in some beautiful condominiums. But they're selling property almost like they're doing something secretly that they're not telling anybody. And also the construction team is going back and forth daily, and they're not allowed to tell anybody where they're going, not even their own wives.
It's probably a combination of things. It may be the lawsuits, and in addition to that, what you said earlier, Johnny, that they're building underground.
I really think that they're actually trying to get a bunker either for a revolt against them, or they honestly believe something's going to happen soon.
Johnny,
yeah.
I'm sorry. Could you? I remember we were talking about it earlier, but could you say it again where you heard that information? Because I was making dinner at the time and I didn't grasp that.
Which one?
About the chatter about the bunker and things. Oh. As far as where that came from and where did you hear it?
Okay. Originally, like I said. Since when you can never, like I said, you can never, how many times you delete a hard drive, you can never take everything away from it, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
First of all, you see large chunks of money going around, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. We've noticed that for the past 10 years that the society has been fine financially, right? No problems whatsoever.
Right.
Okay? There has been nothing going on. But for the past 5 years, there's been money being diverted. We've incorporated ourselves. Recently there was a vote with the governing body if they should go public or not, being a public company, a public entity, a conglomerate. The only problem with that is that they would lose the tax exemption of being a church, and they would lose all those, those fringes. So recently we were noticing that since there's there's no building things to do. There's nothing to do. The construction committee is dead, except for, RBC, but that's not part of the construction building for Bethel, They were totally halted. Like, there was nothing going on. All the fixtures that were in 90 stands, they finished, like, in a day. The remodeling that they did in towers, they did in a day. Everything was done. Now, all of a sudden, all the construction teams were called in, and they're leaving for, I'm talking about days at a time. They're not allowed to tell you where they're going, and they don't talk to their wives they don't tell their wives where they're going or what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
They don't tell them where they're going or what they're doing whatsoever. That mixed with the amount of money that's being used, something is being built somewhere where they're not telling us.
Yeah.
Something is being built.
How long have they been going out doing this secretive construction?
Probably 6 months.
That's when I noticed a huge change.
They're going about 3 days each time. So they could hop in a car and go to upstate, work a couple of days up there, and I guess come on back.
Mm-hmm.
It could be a number of things. I really, like I said, the only way would be to plant a bug upstairs. That would be the only way to find out, what's going on. Would be to literally plant a bug. And that's another thing. I forgot to tell you guys. They also have. You think that they also have regular? They don't just spy on people, but they also have a team to make sure they're not being spied on as well.
Yeah.
You mean from the government?
From anyone. They make sure that I heard that one of the brothers who's part of he's from part of the advanced IT team, which we all thought was kind of weird because you don't need an advanced IT team, right? There's no reason for it. We're not running they're not running a supercomputer from NASA. We're not trying to land a spaceship on the moon,
Oh, well, John, just explain to those listening tonight, because there's so many on here. What do you mean by advanced IT team? Just explain to them.
Basically technologies of a lot of different technologies that have to do with either wiretapping, things like that, internet hacking, internet technology, algorithms, things like that.
So you're confirming here tonight for the listeners just coming on that the Watchtower is involved in tapping lines, watching internet websites, monitoring Facebook, all of that stuff, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay,
go ahead. So what I've heard was that before every meeting, what they'll do is they'll scan the room. Like literally, they'll see if there's any bugs in the room whatsoever, and then they'll start. And also, they put all if they have a cellular phone, which each one has one. If there's one of the body who say they don't have a cell phone, they are lying. They have a cell phone. I never heard them ring before, but I've seen them. They all have a cell phone, and they put them in this pile. Someone takes it out of the room, and that's when they start their meeting. And that's how they start. So it's getting weird. It's getting weird from when back then where you can speak like men. You know how Apostle Paul said where you can speak like men one to another, when there was no secrecy whatsoever between men. That's the way it was back then. But now it's just, they act like they're a third world country.
Well, John, here's the question I'd have to ask. Again, this is Rick Fram with the Six Screens. Now, the question I'd have to ask at this juncture is what do you think the Watchtower is so paranoid about? What are they afraid of?
I think they're afraid of, besides the fact that they know that they're eventually that everyone's going to rise up against them. I think that they're afraid of, besides of the government finally getting off from the pedophilia problem. But besides that, I think they're afraid that finally people are going to get so fed up with their minds and bodies being warped from years of self-abuse, for what they've done to them, that they're going to, rise up and actually, take over to take over Bethel and go straight upstairs and try to look for each governing body member. I mean, like I said, it happened before when everybody was so afraid to think and wonder what's going on. You know, why not? Why wouldn't it happen now? Especially how easy it is. All you need is right now. There's a powder keg. All you need is a spark, and everything. I mean, all you need is one spark, one outrageous action to happen in a society that will have a domino effect that will go straight to the top.